early, the athlete is at a huge risk of further problems down the road, including anything with their school or memory or continuous headaches.
For concussion treatment, get started at ElevatePerformanceSD.com.
What makes a credit union different from a bank? At Highmark Credit Union, it starts with you. We're member-owned, not shareholder-driven. That means our earnings go back to you through better rates, lower fees, and personal service. Unlike big banks, we put people first. You're not just an account number, you're part of a community. Highmark Credit Union. Local, personal, and here for you. We'll make it happen. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Hi, this is David Brenneman with Coldwell Banker, Black Hills Legacy in Rapid City. Have you thought about buying a home or real estate in the Black Hills? Maybe you want to upgrade to your forever home? I have been helping people in the Black Hills find the right home for nearly 20 years. When it comes to buying or selling, experience matters. Let me do the work, and you can open the door to your new home. Say hello to a good buy with me, David Brenneman. To get started, just Google David Brenneman, Coldwell Banker.
At Dakota Discount RV, we're in it for the long haul, just like you. Whether it's cross-country adventures, weekends by the lake, or family time under the stars, we're here to keep you rolling for years to come. While others are packing up, we're doubling down with dependable service, great prices, and the biggest selection in the region. Your journey doesn't stop here, and neither do we. Here tomorrow, here for every mile ahead. Visit us in Rapid City or Somerset or online at DakotaDiscountRV.com.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM, Fox Sports Rapid City.
Lane Kiffin was introduced today as the new head football coach at LSU.
Leaving Ole Miss was extremely difficult, and in that, we tried every single thing possible to continue to coach the team through the playoffs and continue to coach the players. In the end, that was their decision, and we totally respect that.
Even LSU's athletic department said that they would have allowed Kiffin to coach for the Rebels. Now, he will not be on the sidelines, but he could receive bonuses depending how far Ole Miss goes in the college football playoff, as the Baton Rouge Advocate says that LSU is set to pay Kiffin the bonuses that he missed out on with the Rebels, depending how far Ole Miss goes, up to $1 million. UCLA is hiring James Madison head football coach Bob Chesney to lead the Bruins football program. Michigan State made it official, naming Pat Fitzgerald as their new head coach. Vikings quarterback J.J. McCarthy expected back in Week 14. Giants and Patriots, 8:15 tonight.
It's time for South Dakota's Sports Talk Show. This is the Nate Brown Show, featuring live callers, great interviews, and thought-provoking sports talk. From the biggest national names to the hottest stories across South Dakota. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
All right, good Monday afternoon, first day of December. We are out of the Thanksgiving break and right into the holiday season, right? Matt Kearney has the Christmas tree set up in the studio already. He's on top of it. We're back and ready. Let's get going. First day of December. How you doing? The Nate Brown Show is back on. It is always a great day in South Dakota. We know that. South Dakota Sports Talk Show live tonight. Fox Sports Radio, our affiliates across the state. Fox Sports Rapid City, KWSN, Fox Sports Sioux Falls. Welcome in. Thanks for making us part of your day, and thanks for making the show possible. We appreciate you. Good guest lineup tonight. It is a Reaction Monday. Rob Kagron, national radio host. The famous Rob Kagron is in all the way from New York City to South Dakota and on the Nate Brown Show tonight. A Reaction Monday. That's the second hour tonight. So Rob's going to come on in. We'll talk a lot of ball, some college, NFL. We'll get to that with Rob. Guest lineup looks great. Let's look at it. Trent Singer is going to join us on the high school sports front. Trent Singer, high school sports reporter, SiouxFallsLive.com, does a good job covering preps in the state. We've got Trent Singer coming up from Sioux Falls Live. The football advisory meeting was today. So what are the headlines out of the football advisory meeting for South Dakota high school football? Not a lot of huge ones. A couple of things I'm going to get into. There was 10 proposals on the agenda, and not a lot of huge movement here, and that's maybe a story in and of itself, but we'll get to that. Trent Singer coming up, SiouxFallsLive.com. We'll go to Minneapolis tonight. Thor Nystrom is in. His reaction to the Vikings. He is with ScoreNorth.com, live from the Twin Cities. Vikings go down 26-0, and now we got a full-blown 4-alarm emergency on the Vikings QB situation and where things go from here. Thor Nystrom's coming up. He's been a big J.J. McCarthy guy. What does Thor have to say tonight? John Bryce is also on the way tonight. One of our great college football insiders, footballscoop.com, national writer John Bryce on a huge college football Monday. Let's get going. If you want in tonight, call us on the Pizza Ranch studio hotline. We'll try and get you in the conversation. 605-720-1067. That's the number. 605-720-1067. That's the Nate Brown Show Pizza Ranch studio hotline, powered by the Pizza Ranch tonight. Open at East 10th Street, Sioux Falls, also in Brandon, and 2 locations in Rapid City, home of everyone's favorite buffet. Get into the Pizza Ranch tonight. You've done enough cooking. Enough leftovers. Get to the Pizza Ranch tonight, this week. Also, the Barron's Wilson text line is open, 605-720-1067. That's the text line. Text the show directly, 605-720-1067. The Barron's Wilson listener text line. We are set and out of the gate on a Monday. 2 stories I want to talk about right away. There's a lot to hit. We could start with a lot. From high school to the NFL, I think the 2 stories I want to hit on are college football. I'm not going to go FCS yet. We'll get to the Jacks blowing out New Hampshire, USD taking care of Drake. So we got a good week this week of FCS football. We're going to keep our eyes on this. Can the Jacks meet USD in a week? We'll see. First things first. So we'll get to that. 2 big stories out of college football are nationally, and I've got to get into the Lane Kiffin situation. Let's bring the Lane Kiffin situation into a South Dakota sports talk show with South Dakota common sense. You guys have the common sense, right? You know this situation here, so everybody's trying to figure out who is to blame in the Lane Kiffin situation. Where Lane Kiffin coaches his last game with Ole Miss, they take care of Mississippi State over the weekend in the rivalry game, and then drama, more drama. Imagine, it's Lane Kiffin, the guy who goes to Tennessee and bolts for USC, and it ends up in a mess, and then he gets another opportunity. And now he's the big show, and LSU hires Lane Kiffin. He just got introduced today. But it's been drama city over the past 72 hours. Just absolute drama city with Lane Kiffin, and what is he going to do? Is he going to go to LSU? Is he going to stay at Ole Miss? Is he going to stay and coach at Ole Miss, but then get hired by LSU? I want to know what the real answer is to this type of situation, because I'm old enough to know. I'm old enough to remember when they all told us that the college football playoff going from 4 teams to 12, which I'm okay with, but they all told us it's going to go to 12 teams in the college football playoffs, so then you're never going to have players that are contributors to national championship contenders. They're not going to transfer. And they said, and you surely won't lose a coach who has a team that's trying to win a national championship. You just won't lose a coach like that because he's already in a great program. He's already on a national title contender level. So why would we be worried about a coach that leaves when he's going to the college football playoff? So I'm old enough to remember that's been the story and that's been the narrative. And here we go. We flipped it on its ear, totally flipped this whole thing on its ear. And we got a major problem here. I mean, everybody's just going to say, well, that's just the way of the world. Yeah, I know. The way of the world now is there's no loyalty. Everybody gets mad about the players. I get mad about the players. You guys get mad about the players. The players that left South Dakota State and went to Washington State. Well, don't blame. Yeah, that's not good. I don't like that. But don't blame the players. Then we have the coaches who now they don't just leave as the team that's out of contention, going to a quote-unquote meaningless bowl game. That was always the argument. Who cares? They're going to the Little Caesars Bowl. Who cares? Now they're going to the college football playoff, and Ole Miss is a title contender, whether you want to believe it or not. Lane Kiffin has them in that position, and now we're actually losing coaches when you've got a national tournament getting ready to start. I mean, it's just, if there's something that's the worst thing in sports, this has to take the cake. No loyalty, no rules, so it all just comes to a head. There's no loyalty. We just are at our own faults, and we let the universities just run the show, and there's no regulatory action at all. The NCAA is out to lunch. I don't even know what these guys are doing today. They are out to lunch, and we're just supposed to accept, well, that's just the way of the world. I'm not going to accept it. No loyalty in sports. There's just no loyalty in sports. And so I said, I don't want to accept it. I don't want to accept it. It's a bad thing here. But I do have to say, what is the answer? I'd like to ask that question. What is the answer to this? And I'd also like to answer the question today. Who is to blame in the situation with Lane Kiffin? Who ultimately should get the blame in this situation with Lane Kiffin? Because I had a response on, I was saying, hey, I can't believe this has actually happened. A team in contention for a national title, and now they lose their coach. I mean, I can't believe it. And then a listener said, well, LSU was going to let him coach. LSU was going to let him coach. Oh, give me a break. Give me a break. You think I'm Ole Miss? I'm the AD at Ole Miss. I'm going to let Lane Kiffin play this thing out? That's in my best interest to let him play this out? No way. Get it out of here. So that's gone. That's gone. There's only one answer, I think, by the way. I think I have it. South Dakota Comment said. So who knows? I think I have the answer. It's pretty easy. I think you guys do, too. Let's take a call first. Thanks for getting in. You're live, and you go ahead.
Hey, Nate. Thanks for taking my call. Yeah, it's a total debacle. College football needs to. I think they got to make things happen faster. I mean, I think they need to get. I don't know. In my personal opinion, I don't think conference championships matter anymore. Those need to go away. They need to get to the playoffs faster so that they can get this stuff done, or they need to move the timeline back for transferring. And I know that.
Yes.
Messes with enrollment for the next semester at other schools and stuff, but they either need to speed up the playoffs and get those going faster, or they need to move the timeline back, I think. But
I'm with you on moving the timeline because people still think these kids are playing school, like they're normal students, and we have to understand this is a business now. This isn't school anymore. Yeah.
For sure. And then the other thing, too, is the other thing I can't figure out also is I think it's almost a punishment or not a punishment, but it's almost like the teams that are playing in the conference championships. I think it's I don't know. It's kind of a weird deal there, too.
Yeah.
Would you rather play in the conference championship or not play in the conference championship?
Right.
That's a weird. So I think they could get rid of that and then also push the thing back. I don't know.
These teams playing this weekend are risking a loss, is what you're saying. They risk a loss.
Risking a loss, they're risking an injured player. Teams that had people injured last weekend, they have another week to get someone recuperated. I mean, it's you get an injury in this game, and then it's I don't know. I think there's a lot of risk there, and I think it's weird how it's set up. I don't know. So
appreciate you, man. Good to hear from you. Thanks for getting in. I think he's right. People say, well, that's just the timeline of college football. That's just the timeline. It's just the way it is. It's just the timeline. This is a timeline to make sure they're enrolled for classes in January. That's why we let the transfer portal open up too. We let the transfer portal open up because we got to make sure that kid who wants to go enroll for classes gets to do it on time. Sure. So the timeline's got to be an X factor. That's got to change. You can change the timeline. And here's the answer. You just have to have a rule that says coaches, universities cannot hire coaches until the end of January. That's it. That gives them plenty of time for spring ball. You can get the new class in there. So you got to tie the rule with universities and coaches to the transfer portal, and you've got to move it back. Can you guys imagine This is Rick Pitino. This is Rick Pitino at St. John's getting to the tournament as like a 2 seed. He's in the tournament as a 2 seed in March, and Rick Pitino takes another job and leaves St. John's to go through March Madness. I mean, that's ridiculous. We wouldn't dream of that in any other scenario. But here in college football, it's just the timeline. Nobody to blame. Nobody to blame. It's just the way it is. All right, we'll take one more on this. Thanks for getting in. You're live, and you go ahead.
Well, I was listening to Dan Patrick, I believe.
Okay.
It cost LSU $4 million to buy out Lane Kiffin's contract. Now, if they would have fired him, they would have owed Kiffin $30+ million.
Sure.
So I think that should be changed.
Well, there's a boatload of stuff. I mean, just a boatload of stuff. I just don't think you can hire coaches right now. I believe we have to stop this hiring of coaches now.
Honestly, let's look at life. What has Lane Kiffin done as a head coach?
I did well at Ole Miss.
How many jobs has he had?
He's had quite a few. You're right on that.
And no championships, no.
I think this is his best run, honestly. If you look at it, this is his best run. So I don't know how it's going to work out at LSU, but I can't believe we have coaches.
Well, you got to have a good week, Nate. That way old Dan and Colin will pick you up and give you some of that big money.
All right, man. I need it.
Thanks. Have a
Appreciate it. I need it. I need some of that big money. Let's see here. I'm just going to tell you my 2 answers to my questions, okay? So I asked you the questions as well. Who is to blame in this scenario? A lot of people are going to say just the college football timeline situation. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that Lane's in that position to, oh boy, you wouldn't pass up a good job. You wouldn't pass this up. That's what Colin Cowherd said this morning. Oh, you wouldn't pass this up. You have to have rules when you're in competitive sports on the landscape like this that can't allow. Why can the NFL have a rule? Why doesn't the NFL have all these coaches, these offensive coordinators, leave their teams when the playoffs are on? Because there's a rule. It's just a rule. The NCAA has so many rules. I mean, I couldn't take a youth basketball team down to the sidelines of a college basketball game, my youth basketball team. I couldn't take them down to the sidelines just to watch warm-ups because it was going to be too big of a benefit, potentially. That's an NCAA rule. But no rules on this. Isn't it amazing? It's absolutely amazing. So I'm not going to blame the timeline, though. I'm actually going to put this on Lane Kiffin. It's easy to let him off on it. Well, it's opportunity. It's more money. It's Lane Kiffin committed, got the players in, built this up. Ole Miss gave him a shot. You remember where Lane Kiffin was before Ole Miss? Not great. Just look it up. Look at where Lane Kiffin, how he was doing before Ole Miss gave him a shot, because it was musical chairs bouncing everywhere. They got rid of him at Alabama late in the year. Nick Saban said, see ya. So Lane Kiffin got a shot at Ole Miss, and then he just takes the LSU road, even when his team's in the playoff. I don't think you'd be fired up if the team wasn't in the playoff, because the meaningless bowl games, as we all put them. But they're in the playoff, and we were told this wouldn't happen. Well, leave it to Lane Kiffin. I don't care what you say. It's not the system. It's also the integrity, the loyalty. It's gone. Well, I appreciate everybody of this. Loyalty, integrity, gone. Have to have a rule change to make this better, because then you wouldn't have this. Because there's not enough decency to say, I'm not going to do this, LSU. If you want me, I'm not going to do this until I'm done with the season. If you want me, I'm ready, but I'm going to finish this out with my guys. I'm going to finish it out. Well, he tried to. when he already had taken the job. If I'm at Ole Miss, I'm not letting that happen. You can't do it. Let's see. Nate, Lane Kiffin's way better coach than Les Miles and Ed Orgeron. They both won titles at LSU. That's why Lane's going. Lister text, you can't fault a guy for saying yes to a promotion. Well, see, I think I can in this sports scenario. He could have said yes to the promotion. Hey, I'm going to be the guy. The stipulation is we're going to keep this tight, and I'm going to finish out this season. Okay? I'm finishing out the season, and we're going to keep this tight here. But namely, if there was a rule that actually said it like the NFL does, you can't hire coaches in the NFL till the season's done. You can't hire them. The NCAA screwed this up a long time ago, and now we've got a mess. And I'm rooting for Ole Miss. I am rooting for Ole Miss. Boy, oh boy, I hope they go on a run, and everybody's laughing that Lane Kiffin's over there, I guess, making money off the run that Ole Miss is going to make. I hope the players get after it. John Bryce is in on this. National college football writer for Football Scoop. His take on this, plus, are the Huskers making progress? The Huskers lose big to Penn State and Iowa. They finished 7-5. They're going to a bowl again. But is the program making progress? John Bryce coming up.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
Shop the best deals of the season at Splash City and create the ultimate game night all year round. Challenge family and friends with the smooth glide of a shuffleboard puck gliding across the table. Or reign champion with a Brunswick pool table. With free local delivery and setup and either 0% financing or a free gift, you only have until Christmas Eve to stop into your local Splash City to learn more about these amazing deals.
Visit Splash City in Sioux Falls, Rapid City, or Sioux City. It's time to make a splash. You've earned it.
Hey, it's Nate Brown for Atomic Wings, 2 locations in Sioux Falls. You don't need to keep going to the mediocre wing places with too much breading and wings that don't have any meat. Atomic Wings is different. I know firsthand. Their boneless wings are made with fresh chicken right there. The best wings I've had. 15 unique flavors to choose from sweet to heat. Huge traditional wings, fresh boneless wings for game day, lunch, or dinner. 2 locations in Sioux Falls. Just order at atomicwings.com. Atomicwings.com.
Whether you're a pro or a Joe, a weekend warrior or a gardening great, Monument Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine is here when you need us. Nobody plans an injury, but when people throughout the Black Hills and beyond suffer a setback, Monument Health Orthopedics is here to provide comprehensive medical care. Our team of board-certified orthopedic surgeons and specialists is dedicated to helping patients regain the quality of life they've lost due to an injury, arthritis, or joint wear and tear. Monument Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine for everyday athletes like you.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Lows dip down to about 20 tonight under mainly cloudy skies. Westerly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Cloudy skies expected tomorrow. Slight chance for mix of rain and snow. High temperatures reach up to 44. Chance of snow tomorrow night. Lows around 16. Overcast skies. A dusting of snow tomorrow through tomorrow night. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Currently 31.
It's football season, and the best place to watch all your favorite games is the BetMGM Sportsbook at Tin Lizzie Gaming Resort. Wall-to-wall television arrays give you the best seats in the house and let you watch multiple games at once. Relax in comfortable seating while you grab a delicious bite or brew with a game day menu full of fan favorites. Take advantage of some of the best promotions in Deadwood when you make your wagers with your Clubhouse card. You won't miss a second of the action when you make the BetMGM Sportsbook at Tin Lizzie your headquarters this football season.
If you want the peace of mind that your next pre-owned vehicle is the best it can be, you want Honda True, and you only find it at Danny Manholt Rushmore Honda. Our Honda certified pre-owned vehicles are thoroughly inspected and backed by 7-year, 100,000-mile powertrain coverage, up to 2 complimentary oil changes, 24/7 roadside assistance, inspection report, and 3-day exchange. You simply can't buy the wrong vehicle. Search our inventory at honda-true.com or see us at Denny Manholt Rushmore Honda.
Since 1928, Connect Home Center has been proud to serve Rapid City and Spearfish with quality products and customer service that you can trust. In 2000, Connect joined the Mead Lumber family, and now they're taking the next step into their journey. Connect Home Center is becoming Mead Lumber. Same people, same service, just a new name from design to finish. Mead Lumber is here for you, as they've always been. MeadLumber.com.
From high school to college to the pros, from Rapid City to Sioux Falls, the Nate Brown Show is South Dakota's sports talk show.
Well, welcome back in the Nate Brown Show. Glad you're here on a Monday. South Dakota Sports Talk Show live from high school to college to the pros. We got you covered tonight. Great guest lineup coming up. And a Reaction Monday, a full hour with our guest host out of New York City. I always got to throw that out. Rob Kegron is in. He's now a South Dakota guy. He's been here a long time. But national radio host Rob Kegron's our guest host on a Reaction Monday coming up on the Nate Brown Show. National college football writer for FootballScoop.com is John Bryce. He's in on a huge Monday. Things are popping. Things are moving. And these guys at FootballScoop.com, I go there every day. If you're a football fan, college football fan, that's the place. They've got it, all the goods on the coaching changes and all the discussions going on. John, welcome in. How are you?
Good to join you again, Nate. Hope that you and your family and all your listeners had an awesome Thanksgiving weekend.
Same to you, man. I appreciate it. It was heavy football. I was all about it. Now, I wanted to get into the Lane Kiffin thing. I haven't seen what your reaction is to this. I have an old school reaction. I just, we were told that this wouldn't happen in the college football playoff. If you're in contention for a national title, you won't lose a coach. You won't lose players. You're in contention. You're going to be at a place where you're not going to want to leave. You got all the money. You got the national championship run. And here it is. It's happened. I hate it. And I have to say, will the NCAA, will the universities, will the conferences ever change the timeline so we can have better rules where coaches have to finish out the year?
Not until, Nate, that there is a czar of college football or a commissioner of college football, or there's some sort of single entity governing figure and collectively agreed upon guidelines and frameworks that are enforceable. Otherwise, it's been a free-for-all. I think back in and this is a little bit different, but it's still absolute chaos. I think back in the 70s at one point, Tennessee's coach was Doug Dickey, and he had taken them to the Gator Bowl, and I believe they played Florida in the Gator Bowl, and then the next week he was hired as Florida's coach, and then the next season Florida opened up its year with Tennessee. And so you think this stuff is happening now for the first time ever, but it's not. It's just far more scrutinized, publicized, chronicled, documented. I mean, look, Vince Dooley was an Auburn grad who was, I think, an Auburn assistant and took the Georgia job. And then I think Shug Jordan, who Auburn Stadium is named after him. No, Pat Dye was a Georgia grad and assistant who took the Auburn job. So we've seen this for a really long time. It's different because now that the sport has a true national championship instead of bowls and polls, it's different, and it's an expanded national championship. So there's 16 teams right now with realistic chances to get a bid in one of the 12 slots, and certainly Lane Kiffin's former Ole Miss team is pretty safely ensconced in that grouping. So yeah, it's not what we've seen, but also look at the fact that the transfer portal has changed, that window has changed. There's just nothing uniform, and nobody knows what is the best calendar. Nobody knows what works, but every coach sure has a lot of armchair quarterback in him when he complains about the calendars after the fact.
So this would be like college basketball. This is Rick Pitino leaving St. John's when they're a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy, John.
It is. No, you're 100% right. Here's a huge difference, though. When March Madness is going on, it's not signing day. basketball has its signing day in the previous fall or the succeeding fall. Wednesday is signing day, and it's only signing day from Wednesday through Friday. And yes, there's the transfer portal, and yes, players are every bit the mercenaries by and large that the coaches have been for really, I contend, all of this century. Coaches have been pretty mercenary in their approaches. But Wednesday signing day, coaches, these schools, they want to be able to tell boosters that are contributing to NIL or contemplating season ticket renewals or contemplating gifts to the university. They want to be able to tell them, hey, this is our new head coach. He's going to help us sign recruits this month, this week, and then he's going to get in the portal and get a bunch of guys for us. So it's a crazy calendar. Your analogy is really good for basketball. It's a little bit different because of the signing day, I would contend, and then. The NFL has rules that the college doesn't have because everything is collectively bargained and outlined by a union in the professional ranks.
One rule change on this and I wonder if it would ever fly. And you said, well, it's going to have a commissioner. You're going to have somebody running college football. How important is it, John, to get the players from the new signees and the transfer portal players? We're acting like we got to get them into the school so they can get enrolled for classes for the winter semester. And it's like, since winter classes enrollment important, this is a business now.
It is a business now, but as long as there's still technically academic requirements, then you got to get them in early. It also helps them streamline how long it takes them to graduate. Here's another thing to consider, like if you can get a guy into into winter classes next month in January, and he starts classes January 15th, and it's a huge transition, and he's in college for the first time, and he's doing a college weight program and a college nutrition program, and eventually spring ball. That's still not the season. So you might be able to get a guy 15 hours of course credit over the course of spring semester. Then you get him to take some May term and first session summer school, second session summer school. All of that is building up to where it allows a freshman to maybe only have 12 hours in the fall, whatever is the bare minimum, to be a full-time student to help better manage the work-life balance, even though it's more like a work-work balance between academics and athletics. So I think that's a huge part. And then, some other more industrious people have done studies, and I can name specific examples. I don't have the study data right in front of me, but these guys don't want to sit around and wait, and it's harder to convince kids to sit around and wait than ever before because of the transfer portal. Well, it's darn near impossible for them to play as a true freshman if they don't come in January as a mid-year enrollee. So there's so many components to it that it's not just a simple, well, don't make them get there in January. Well, that just is not realistic for the kids now because kids are getting paid in high school. I mean, you have the kid that graduated early in Florida a year ago who was supposed to be a 26 kid, the quarterback, and he reclassified to 25 so that he could go ahead and get to Texas A&M so that he could go ahead and start making 6+ figures to help his family and to start making that money sooner rather than later.
John Bryce on tonight, footballscoop.com. It's a busy session right now. Find him there at John D. Bryce1 on Twitter. A couple more, I'll let him run. One more on this. Why is Lane Kiffin going to be better than Brian Kelly?
I think that, frankly, Lane Kiffin has been scarred more than Brian Kelly and has been in the cauldron of the SEC, both when he was way too young, but turned some heads with not just his talk, but with a couple of wins he had that year that he was the Tennessee head coach. That's when I first met Lane, was 17 years ago now, and then also because of the people he's been around and the experiences, and because Lane Kiffin, he's not Kirby Smart recruiting, he's not Dan Lanning recruiting, but the flip side of that is nobody would tell you he's Brian Kelly recruiting either. So he's not the most ambitious, always on the road head coach for recruiting, but he's also not among those guys that have the reputation, fair or not, of being more lax in recruiting. And then also I think Lane has learned and surrounded himself with really great people. And, Brian Kelly couldn't keep Mike Denbrock, things probably would have been different. And Lane Kiffin has been able to keep Charlie Weiss thus far, and Charlie Weiss is probably a future head coach, and but he's been brilliant. And then look, Lane Kiffin hired Pete Golding and showed a knack there because Pete Golding has already been named Ole Miss's permanent head coach.
What do you think happens with Ole Miss in the playoff? What do you think happens with these players?
I think that because of when the playoff is and because the transfer portal doesn't open until January 2nd and because they hired Pete Golding, in talking with people at Ole Miss today and yesterday, there's a great sense that they will be able to maintain continuity. There's not a massive concern for huge roster attrition, especially in the right here and now. I am fascinated to see what the selection committee does tomorrow night. And, of course, I did that mock exercise back in mid-September and wrote about it last month when the rankings debuted. They're supposed to take into account the fact that Ole Miss just lost its head coach, the same as they would take into account, maybe not to the same extent, but the same when Florida State lost Jordan Travis 2 years ago and missed the playoffs because they didn't have their starting quarterback, and they were a vastly weakened team without him. So I'm curious to see if maybe Ole Miss dips to number 8, potentially even number 9 tomorrow night in the CFP rankings. I know that Oklahoma and Notre Dame are sitting there heavily anticipating tomorrow night's rankings to see if they can nudge up, to see if the committee truly gives weight to the fact that Ole Miss just lost its head coach and its offensive coordinator, its strength coach, and potentially more coaches as the week unfolds, because there's still a lot of drama, Nate. There's still a lot of coaches in Oxford right now being offered contracts to come to Baton Rouge and being offered contracts to stay in Oxford. So the drama is nowhere near over.
It's something. It's wild. Another coaching change potentially. You guys have been on this. Footballscoop.com. BYU's Kalani Sitake. Could he end up in Penn State?
There's growing momentum for the Nittany Lions. Pat Kraft has been running a really long search, and it's included a number of big swings. And I think Penn State people immediately believed they would get either Curt Cignetti or Matt Rule when they fired James Franklin. Cignetti very quickly got a new deal at IU and kind of thumbed his nose at the Nittany Lions. Matt Rule had an absolutely disastrous close to the season, and I know Nebraska said they were working on a new contract for him, but I think the fact that he fell out of complete contention for the Penn State job has far more to do with the fact that his team folded down the stretch than it does with any sort of verbal agreement to maintain his employment at Nebraska. So I think there's a great chance. People in Utah believe there's growing sentiment that Kalani Sitake is strongly considering accepting this job. With BYU being a private religious school, we don't get access to all their public records, their finances, revenues, all of that. So we don't know for sure what Kalani Sitake's salary or performance incentives are. It's been reported that's in the $3 million range, and Penn State was paying James Franklin $8.5 million with some pretty easy incentives that push that to $9 million. So he's got a chance, I'm sure, to triple or roughly triple his salary and get a very long-term, probably something in the range of 6 years, $60 million deal if he accepts the Penn State offer and overtures.
Keep an eye on that. Footballscoop.com's on it. Sitake at BYU in the running for the Penn State job. They're one of the last ones, big jobs open. Last one, John Bryce. Nebraska, you just mentioned them. They lose big to Penn State. They lose big to Iowa. They're 7-5. They're going to a bowl again. There's debate going on in Husker country. Has this program made progress? What's that answer?
No, I don't think so. I thought that it was very well positioned to make progress this year. Now, today already, Matt Rule is fired as defensive coordinator. Raiola got hurt. It's my understanding from talking with agents in the industry that Raiola is highly expected to enter the transfer portal in the coming weeks when it opens. His brother is already decommitted. I think that this was, at best, a stagnant year 2 for Matt Rule, and it really ratchets up the pressure in year 3 because Nebraska has phenomenal fans, great support. They've spent heavily on Matt Rule. Then they promised him that contract extension because of the Penn State chatter, and then they also have very heavily invested in their roster to the point that they were heavily invested in Raiola to get him to sign with Nebraska from an NIL standpoint, and they've continued to very heavily invest in their roster. So the ROI is not there right now for Nebraska football.
John Bryce, great to have him, one of the top guys in the country, footballscoop.com, for all the coverage as the coaches are on the move. John, I appreciate it, man. Thanks.
Appreciate you, Nate. Take care, buddy.
See you. John Bryce, footballscoop.com, national college football writer, college football insider on the Nate Brown Show on South Dakota Sports Talk Show tonight. Well, that's interesting. His answer for Nebraska, have they made progress? No. John Bryce says no. Now, I look at this season. I missed it by one game. I had the Huskers going 8-4, and they let me down big time Friday. So they're 7-5, and people say, hey, we weren't making bowl games before. Well, just look at the schedule this past season. This was about as good as you can get. This schedule was about as good as you can get. And they still couldn't get the wins they needed to. Still couldn't. You can't lose to Minnesota. Can't lose games like that. You can't get blasted by Iowa, blasted by Penn State. You just can't. So I'll ask you that on the text line tonight here on the Nate Brown Show. Text line question of the day: is the Husker football program making progress? Back-to-back bowl seasons, but I feel like it's still mediocrity. I feel like it's not much better than, I got a listener that texted in saying, this is like 6-6. They're 7-5, but it's like 6-6. It's like, after the schedule that was very workable, winnable, are the Huskers making progress? My question of the day, a resounding sound across the Dakotas tonight. What is your answer? Yes, the Huskers are still trending up with Matt Rule, or no, forever mediocrity? What is your answer to the question of the day? 605-720-1067. Text us on the Barron's Wilson text line. We'll take a look at the poll results, and we'll get into the Vikings. Speaking of tough stuff, the Vikings, how bad of a deal is it in Minnesota? Thor Nystrom covers the Vikes for Score North. He's coming up from the Twin Cities.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one, so you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
What do you call a place? It's one of Deadwood's largest casinos, but is it really a casino? Because you can't decide, should I play or eat or wait, there's a liquor-infused ice cream bar? I mean, you're playing craps one minute, and the next you're looking at a charcuterie board? What even is that? Never mind the gunfight outside, you don't have time for that. You've got espressos to down and games to bet on and a pub with 48 whiskeys? What do you even call a place like that?
I didn't know anything about radon. I didn't know it's a gas you can't see or smell. I didn't know it's radioactive from decaying uranium deep underground. It can seep through cracks in your foundation and collect in your house. 1 in 15 homes have high levels, and you don't know if yours is one of them unless you have your home tested. And radon? Well, radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer in America. I wish I would have known that.
Call Blackburn Foundation Repair for radon testing and mitigation.
Murphy's Pub and Grill is back with NFL Sunday Ticket. That means every game, every team, every Sunday. Right here at your favorite bar. Cheer loud, eat big, and score with Murphy's game day specials on food and drinks. The atmosphere, electric. The staff, legendary. The screens, everywhere. This season, don't just watch football. Experience it. NFL Sunday Ticket is back, baby. Murphy's Pub and Grill, your new football headquarters. Visit murphyspubandgrill.com.
In the past, if you needed auto body repair, you had to get multiple estimates and then try to get your car into a shop for repair. Well, not anymore. In most cases, you get your estimate and schedule your car for a repair. The question now becomes which shop you choose. If you like quality, choose J&J Truck and Auto Body. They have ASE, PPG, and Gold iCar certifications that allow them to offer you a nationwide warranty, and they'll work with your insurance company so you're pleased with the outcome. J&J Truck and Auto Body, 1513 East Philadelphia.
Live callers, big-time interviews, and breaking sports news. This is South Dakota's sports talk show, The Nate Brown.
Welcome back into your sports, your show, the Nate Brown Show on tonight. A Reaction Monday coming up, full hour with Rob Kegron live in studio. Appreciate you making us a part of your day. South Dakota Sports Talk Show powered by Black Hills Federal Credit Union, my family's banking partner. I want you to know how good it is to be a member at BHFCU. It's absolutely the right choice. And you're going to say, well, I got to switch banks and everything. Really easy to do. Start at BHFCU.com and then get all the benefits from the loans, personal, business, great rates on vehicle loans. They can do everything you need. Convenience, technology, personal connection. Black Hills Federal Credit Union in Sioux Falls, 4 locations, 18 locations across the state from the Black Hills to Sioux Falls. Start at BHFCU.com. Become a member. I'm glad I switched from my last bank. It makes it worth it. BHFCU.com. Question of the day, let's get into that. Trent Singer's coming up, high school sports writer for SiouxFallsLive.com. We'll talk football advisory meeting today here in South Dakota. We had the high school football advisory meeting. What came out of it, we'll get into some interesting stuff there. Just a couple of things, really, to me. There was 10 proposals, but a couple of things I'm going to get into. Trent Singer coming up, Sioux Falls Live. Let's go to the Husker question of the day and see what the results are. After big losses to Penn State and Iowa, the Huskers finished 7-5. Is that progress? Is that progress? Matt Rule, this was supposed to be the year. 3rd year, he makes big strides. Big strides. And I thought the schedule set up for them, I picked them to go 8-4. So it's not like I was crazy, just drinking the Husker Kool-Aid or anything like that, because it's been such a grind, such a struggle. But I thought with this schedule, they'd go 8-4. I missed it by one game. But it came down to the final one. I had every loss right outside of Iowa. I thought, can the Huskers beat Iowa? Now, no Raiola. He was hurt. And Latif, whether you want to think he's good or not, I'm not so sure on that. And so the Huskers, they were limited, and then they got pushed around, especially second half. I mean, the Hawkeyes pushed them around. Penn State pushed them around. How about Mark Gronowski for a day he had in Nebraska? And Husker fans around here didn't love seeing it, but how about the South Dakota State QB? We had Mark on this show every week last week as the Jacks quarterback, and man, he looked good. As that season went on, Gronowski got better and better. I thought he looked solid on Friday. Are the Huskers making progress? That's my question of the day. It is deep. It's psychological tonight. Are the Huskers making progress? Is it a tough question or not? You tell me. 605-720-1067 on the text line. Let's see here. Listener reaction coming in from Brandon. Brandon says no. Couldn't have asked for a better schedule. They had to fire the DC. They wanted a small recruiting class, and it's underwhelming. Okay? So Brandon's Brandon's not feeling good tonight. He's not feeling good. What's the audience saying? I've got over 106 votes on this. 74% are saying they are stuck in mediocrity. 74% of the audience tonight across South Dakota says the Huskers are stuck in mediocrity. 26% say the Huskers are trending up still, back-to-back bowl games. Thanks for calling. Let's go to the phone line. You're live, and you go ahead.
So here's my question. What's the first step to getting to go forward? Stop going backwards. That is the reason why Nebraska is making progress this year. They have stopped going backwards. They've stopped having losing seasons, and Matt Rule has at least got them to be an even program. Are they going to be back to what they were in the 90s, winning national championships? No. But can they be a respectable program inside of the national college landscape? Sure. That's the progress that they're going to make.
Okay. Playoff team?
No.
No playoff team. But
no, they're a fringe top 20 team on an average basis. They don't have the dollars in the program to make it work, especially in today's college football. You have to have so much money behind the program to be one of those top 15 programs. Indiana this year being the exception to the rule, but you have to have all of the money to throw behind it, and Nebraska doesn't have it.
Appreciate you. Thanks for getting in. I appreciate that. 605-720-1067. That guy said the Huskers are making progress. Is he reasonable? That guy sounds reasonable today. He must have had a nice Thanksgiving break. He must have not bet on the Huskers like me. What are you thinking? I was sitting there Friday going, what was I thinking? And I watched Mark Gronowski and the Hawkeyes just tear him up. Just absolutely tear him up. Listener text coming in. The Huskers are now no different than a Rutgers or a Purdue. Oh, take it. Whoa, take it easy. We didn't have to go from making progress to Rutgers and Purdue. Come on now. That's not right. That's not right. Listener text. Huskers have no change. There is no change. That's what he said, no change. Raiola family football business needs to pack up and move on. Whoa. So we're getting heated. I like it. Lister text, probably need to get rid of Matt Rule, subpar coach. I didn't think we'd quite go down this road. I didn't think we'd quite go crazy. That first guy was reasonable. He said, you don't go backwards. The sign of making progress is going forwards. Back-to-back bowls. They used to not have any of this, right? I mean, you guys remember, there was no bowls. Now, this was an easy schedule. This was one of the best schedules you could get, and they could only muster 7-5. 74% of my audience says the Huskers are stuck in mediocrity, and people are saying they've now become Rutgers and Purdue, and they're saying to get rid of Matt Rule and get rid of the Raiola family. I mean, we just went off the rails. Off the rails. Are the Huskers making progress? My answer, as an objective viewer, I'm not a Husker bleed red guy, go big red K. Not really. That's the reality of it. Not really. 7-5, the Husker fans want more than that. Husker fans are passionate. Best fan base you could get. This is a great fan base. Unbelievable fan base. They got to have better than 7-5 with the schedule that they had. You got to have better, and it would have been a big difference, a win over Iowa. That would have been a huge difference. Okay, let's get to the high school football discussion. They had the big meeting today with the Football Advisory Committee. So this is changing stuff in high school football. Are we going to get these 10 proposals that they discussed today? Are we going to change a bunch of stuff? Maybe one or two things. We'll discuss with Trent Singer from Sioux Falls Live coming up.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one, so you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
What do you call a place? It's one of Deadwood's largest casinos, but is it really a casino? Because you can't decide, should I play or eat or wait, there's a liquor-infused ice cream bar? I mean, you're playing craps one minute, and the next you're looking at a charcuterie board? What even is that? Never mind the gunfight outside, you don't have time for that. You've got espressos to down and games to bet on and a pub with 48 whiskeys? What do you even call a place like that?
I didn't know anything about radon. I didn't know it's a gas you can't see or smell. I didn't know it's radioactive from decaying uranium deep underground. It can seep through cracks in your foundation and collect in your house. 1 in 15 homes have high levels, and you don't know if yours is one of them unless you have your home tested. And radon? Well, radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer in America. I wish I would have known that.
Call Blackburn Foundation Repair for radon testing and mitigation.
BHUcare.com. When you need care, see the team at Black Hills Urgent Care, the faster way to get better.
Hi, this is Jeremy with Jerry's Cakes and Donuts, inviting you to kickstart your morning by dropping by and grabbing some fresh donuts. I want to thank you for voting us the best in the Black Hills. We're up early making your favorite donuts, so stop by and bring some to the office. Everybody loves Jerry's Cakes and Donuts, and we love you, so stop by, get a great selection, and brighten up your day. Serving Rapid City for over 40 years, Jerry's Cakes and Donuts at 109 East Omaha, and remember to like Jerry's on Facebook for some great giveaways.
You're listening to The Nate Brown Show, also streaming right now on X. Follow us and watch the show live at Nate Brown Show.
All right, glad to be back from the Thanksgiving break. We're back and ready. South Dakota Sports Talk Show live. Fox Sports Radio, our affiliates across the state. Fox Sports Rapid City, Fox Sports Sioux Falls, KWSN. Welcome in. Reaction Monday on tap tonight with Rob Kegron, our live in-studio guest host, the great national radio host, Rob Kegron. He's famous, and then we put him on one night a week. We make him South Dakota famous big time. Reaction Monday with Rob Kegron coming up. We'll talk a lot of ball there, college and NFL. Our question of the day: are the Huskers making progress? I know it's tough to think about after that Black Friday mess. Did you guys bet on the Huskers like me? I don't know what got into me. I didn't even drink this weekend. I was good. I took the Huskers +6. How'd that work out? Thank you very much. Are the Huskers making progress? The question of the day, 605-720-1067. Contribute to the conversation. Are the Huskers making progress? Back-to-back bowls, but a disappointing 7-5 on a pretty workable schedule. Hey, Trent Singer's on tonight. Covers high school sports and more for SiouxFallsLive.com. He's on X at Trent Singer. You can follow him there. Getting set for another winter sports season. Man, I'll tell you, hockey's going. Augie hockey. You got high school basketball and wrestling on tap here. So, Trent, welcome in. How are you?
Doing good. This is a busy time of year, especially when you've got these two South Dakota, football programs making runs into the playoffs. But it keeps us busy, and and then once it's all done, then it's just kind of basketball and hockey season. So I'm glad to be on here, Nate.
I appreciate you, man. Question of the day. I need some real honesty. Are the Huskers making progress? Can you answer the question of the day?
Well, progress is a pretty subjective word. I suppose I would say, all things considered, they're still, making bowl games, and there's something to be said about that if you're a Nebraska fan. I think, Iowa kind of outclassed them on Friday. I watched the whole game. It's a big rivalry in my family's household. I've got a lot of Husker fans on one side. And a lot of Iowa fans on the other side, and so there's a lot of bragging rights. I'm kind of, just kind of one of those unbiased, like to just watch college football. If I do lean, I kind of lean more towards Iowa. I just grew up in Iowa, and I will say, them making bowl games is certainly a step, and they continue to do it under Matt Rule, and we'll see. We'll see just, how, if they can sort of build on this. It's tough. You hear all the recruiting news about losing Raiola, losing his brother, and it's going to be hard to kind of weather that. But look, this fan base is so passionate; they care so much about it. We'll see if they're able to make something out of this. What I would consider really a down year. When you go 7-5, that's not good enough for Nebraska fans. So we'll see how they bounce back next season. But I suppose they still got a bowl game to play for, Nate. We'll see how that goes.
All right, that was he said he leans Iowa, so this is a great conspiracy. Maybe he thinks the Huskers are making progress because he leans Iowa, and the Huskers are right where they want them, just like they were Friday. Okay. High school football advisory meeting was today, Trent. So you cover high school sports. High school football advisory meeting had 10 proposals. These are the coaches and administrators. They go through, are we going to change anything? Do we need to tweak anything? There was 10 proposals on the agenda today. Hardly anything went through the football advisory meeting. One thing did. They looking to pass the playoff teams in 9-man and 11B, so the smaller schools. They have 16 teams in the playoffs. The football advisory meeting said, let's cut that down to 12. So they passed that today. Are you with that? Cut it down to 12, not 1 through 16.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I like rewarding the top 4 teams. As we know, that is the most, dense classes. There's a lot of teams competing there. I like this proposal. I like the fact that, if you're one of those top 4 teams, you get the bye, you get the break in between. I think there were some other things too. Some updates to the seed point system I thought were really good proposals. I really like that. I mean, I feel like it creates more of a disparation between those two, going from what you would really consider 4 elements in the win percentage column to up to 8. It just provides a better indicator based on seed points, how teams are seeded going into the playoffs. I think it just adds more definition. And then like you said, passing along to cut it down from 16 to 12, it gives that team an extra bye. It doesn't take away a week too, which is really nice. And so I kind of like that one personally. It sets up the quarterfinal round for those teams that get those top 4 seeds and to move on. I'm with a lot of these proposals, honestly, and I do also want to shout out your guy Matt Kearney, your ops guy, Mr. SD Preps himself, for just being all over these proposals the last week or so.
Yeah, very good coverage, no doubt. And I do want to, there wasn't a ton of stuff that went through this meeting today. They discussed stuff, and then nobody quite kind of moves the needle. One thing was the discussion on 6-man football. They didn't discuss it much. There's a ton of, communities. I say a ton. I think enough where they're on the brink of not having football. They're trying to co-op. They're trying to do stuff. I know of communities that are risking not having football. Do you think, and they say, well, we'll discuss this the next time around. Will 6-man football ever make it to a real headline?
I think it should. I think 7 classes is too many. That's my personal opinion. I've come from states where much larger states, Tennessee, Kentucky. I mean, you're talking, 5-6 classes in some of those states. And here in South Dakota, we have 500,000 people total in the state, something like that, right? And 7 classes. It just seems like so much to me. It feels like the 6-man talk's been gaining more ground here this year. Maybe last year, kind of started peaking up a little bit more, but you're hearing much more about it about it this year. And I think, when you talk about some of those really small schools, it's worked in other states, and hopefully it's gaining some legs. There was another big proposal that was on the agenda that allowed teams with a win percentage below 20% over their previous 4-year period to petition down one class. To just kind of create a more equitable opportunity for what you would call beleaguered programs to just stay competitive, retain participation, maintain player safety. And I really like that proposal. Locally, I look at a program like Baltic. That proposal would allow them to move down to 9AA and be a much more competitive team. And just to put that in perspective, Baltic made the jump to 11B in 2021. They won their first game 22-6 over Parker, and since then they lost 39 straight and have only been occasionally competitive. I mean, this season alone, they dealt with a litany of injuries. They had 27 players on their roster, and it caught up to them at the end of the season. So, when you talk about an 11B program being able to move back down to 9AA, this proposal would allow them to move down to 9AA and be far more competitive. They would have a chance to compete at the nine-man level. And, of course, you look out at Rapid City, it would also affect a couple of public schools out in Rapid City, which would drop down to 11AA. And I would be really interested to see how that would play out, too, because I think both of those programs would be far more competitive amongst the 11AA teams.
Here's the thing, Trent. Here it is. I like this stuff, too, and I'm listening to the meeting today, and it just doesn't get enough. Well, we have another committee that looks at that, and we'll have a success factor. Maybe we'll bring that up to them, and it just takes so long for this process to get implemented. And I look at it and say, some of these programs that you say Baltic, I'll say Central, Stevens, Douglas, these programs don't have that long. They don't have another 2 years to go. Yeah, well, we'll see how this continues to go.
I 100% agree with you, and I think one of the bigger issues is a lot of the people that are hearing these conversations, they're not affected by it. And so then you don't really have as much of a say in it when there's only a handful of schools that truly want this.
Yeah.
The others, they just don't care.
Right.
And I think that's there's a very bureaucratic process that this whole thing goes through, and it can be really tiresome at times. But man, the wins are big, and I think occasionally when you can get some stuff like that into play and finally get it going, it's huge.
Yeah, I'm with you on it. Trent Singer on tonight, covers high school sports for SiouxFallsLive.com. Here's one more question of the day. It's a high school question. This was mentioned at the meeting today. Some state legislatures have gotten their hands into high school sports. North Carolina just told their activities association, you're going to go from 4 classes to 8 classes. That was from the legislature. Question of the day, should legislatures have a role in high school sports?
Well, you can look at this both ways. Would it get stuff done? Obviously, yes, because there would be this executive decision coming from the top. That being said, I kind of want the state's hands kept out of it. I think it shows incompetence amongst these governing bodies if they're not able to do it themselves, and the state legislature has to step in to make that decision for them. Also, you look at that specific scenario, jumping from 4 to 8 classes, I think that's the last thing people in South Dakota would want. I'm kind of sick of the seven classes. Everybody gets a trophy, cool and all, but I think something like 5 is perfect for South Dakota. If we could find a way to make that work, personally, from my perspective, I think that's a far better way to go about it. But, of course, it's a tough state to really map out. There's some very rural areas that, create these co-ops, and then you have some of these schools that are turning players away. I look at places like Harrisburg and Brandon Valley, the participation numbers are unreal. And then you step outside the city a little bit, and it can get rough in some of these areas. So, again, it's a tough middle ground to walk, and it's kind of why this bureaucracy exists in a lot of ways.
Yeah. What if the legislature brought a bill here at this next session that says South Dakota football is going to go to 5 classes? Then you would be all over it.
I would.
All right. I doubt that will happen. But North Carolina went the other way. They raised their classes. All right, Trent Singer tonight. Always good to have him. SiouxFallsLive.com for some great coverage. Great team there. Trent, I appreciate it. Thanks.
Nate, always good to talk to you, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. Trent Singer on tonight from SiouxFallsLive.com. Great site. They cover sports really good here in South Dakota. Find him on X at Trent Singer is where he is at. The Nate Brown Show is on tonight with a Reaction Monday with Rob Kagron. Boy, there's a lot to talk about. Vikings, Broncos, Huskers, and more.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
As the official mascot of Country Hearth Breads and literally made of dough, Lofi would like to put a little more jingle in your holiday this season by giving you a chance to win some dough yourself. Visit countryhearthbreads.com/sweeps and enter today for your chance to win $500 or $1,000. Winners will each receive a check that can be used for travel, gifts, or even Lofi's personal choice, lots and lots of bread and buns for all your holiday celebrations. So get your buns over to countryhearthbreads.com/sweeps and enter today. Good luck.
Hey, it's Nate Brown for Atomic Wings, 2 locations in Sioux Falls. You don't need to keep going to the mediocre wing places with too much breading and wings that don't have any meat. Atomic Wings is different. I know firsthand. Their boneless wings are made with fresh chicken right there. The best wings I've had. 15 unique flavors to choose from sweet to heat. Huge traditional wings, fresh boneless wings for game day, lunch, or dinner. 2 locations in Sioux Falls. Just order at atomicwings.com. Atomicwings.com.
Attention football fans, the BetMGM Sportsbook at Cadillac Jack's Gaming Resort has it all. Watch your team on massive high-definition screens while enjoying live betting. Keep some skin in the game even when the odds don't go your way. Enter Jack's Second Chance Mulligan Drawing by dropping your losing ticket for a shot at up to $200 in Cadillac cash every week. Satisfy your craving with mouth-watering Mexican cuisine from Guadalajara's or choose from 4 other food vendors, all while sipping on your favorite drinks. The BetMGM Sportsbook at Cadillac Jack's Gaming Resort. How will your game play out?
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM. Fox Sports Rapid City.
Attention sports parents and ballers of all ages, Rapid City has a new sports facility that you have to check out. E3 Sports Complex on East North Street, featuring 4 full courts for basketball and volleyball. E3 Sports Complex is here to serve the community and wants all athletes of any age to come and experience expert training, coaching, and the opportunity to unlock your athletic potential. Memberships are available now. Come to play at E3 Sports Complex. Learn more at e3sports.org.
Collins Siding has been the region's premier window siding, door, and gutter installation specialist since 1974. They use only the highest quality materials and never compromise on their workmanship. Collins Siding is licensed, bonded, and their estimates always include labor, materials, and applicable permits and taxes. Collins Siding has been providing top quality service and exceeding high standards for over 45 years, and you can find out how by visiting them at 2016 Cherry Avenue. Collins Siding, 2016 Cherry Avenue, Rapid City.
We're talking with Rihanna Wickett at Elevate Performance Physical Therapy for another Elevate Performance Health Minute. Rihanna, as we all get older, one of the most common injuries, pains, back pain.
We see it every day.
There's a lot of things that can cause it, right?
Absolutely. There's a multitude of different things that can cause back pain, whether that's strength or something that you did, you tweaked it. So it's really important that we get you looked at and figure out what's actually causing that, because so many things can cause the different types of back pain.
Okay, so what's interesting about it, you could have pain in the back, but then there's also a problem with your back, and now that turns into sciatica.
Yeah, sciatica, it tends to come down through the buttock into the leg, and back pain generally just stays right within the back. You might have something traveling, numbness and tingling, pain shooting down past the knee even, all the way to the foot. We definitely want to get that taken care of sooner than later.
Back pain relief, sciatica relief. Get started at elevateperformancesd.com.
One more time. This is the Nate Brown Show. From the biggest national names to the hottest stories across South Dakota. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
Hey, welcome in. It's a Reaction Monday. Glad you're here. The Nate Brown Show is on Fox Sports Radio. I do appreciate you. Thanks for making the show possible. You guys do that. Our listeners, our local business partners across South Dakota. It is South Dakota Sports Talk Show on Fox Sports Radio, KWSN, Fox Sports Sioux Falls, and Fox Sports Rapid City. A Reaction Monday means it's Rob Kegron has made his way into the studio. Packed lineup tonight. We had John Bryce, college football national insider, footballscoop.com, a lot of college football news. Trent Singer just hit some high school sports with SiouxFallsLive.com. Now we got to get into talking some ball from college to the NFL. And I got to ask my friend Rob Kegron. He is a friend of mine. I sent him a text last night. All it said was Broncos. That's all it said. And you were pulling against him. You were pulling against him. I could just tell. And we won in overtime. Another close win. Are the Broncos at 10-2 the worst 10-2 team like everybody loves saying? I can't wait to say it when they're in the Super Bowl. This is the worst 14-3 team ever.
I don't agree with that. I was not, you're right, I was not pulling for them last night.
What's your problem?
I don't have any love for Washington. I don't know. Again, I'd like to see your team be a little bit more impressive in the wins, right? Like, why
impressive?
Plus, I was tired. Watched a lot of. I mean, think about this, right? Like,
you and I last night.
You and I are junkies when it comes to football, right? So, from Thursday at like 11 a.m. until Sunday night at 9:30. Well, then of course the game goes in overtime, and it's like 10 o'clock at night, 10 past 10 o'clock at night. I mean, that's a long period of time to watch a tremendous amount of football. And I was kind of like, I'm ready for this to be over with. And when you couldn't close the deal in regulation, despite all of the insane penalties at the end of that game, right? And then you go to overtime. Well, now they get to go for a 2-point conversion. Yeah, I kind of am rooting for Washington at that point.
So you actually do want to say the Broncos at 10-2. You do want to say, I mean, you don't want to say the worst of all time, but you want to say they're no good. You want to say that.
No, I don't want to say that at all. And I think... First of all, I think any team that is 10-2 is a very, very good football team. I think it's crazy to say this is the worst 10-2 football team of all time. Because the issue with the Broncos isn't that they are a bad team, it's that they just play remarkably close games over and over and over again. But they do have an impressive win at Philadelphia, right? I mean, that's no slouch at all to win that game. And they've given up like the third fewest points in the whole National Football League, right? So they got a great defense. Do I think they are an odd 10-2 team? Yes, I would say they are the oddest 10-2 team I've seen in a very long time. I don't think they're the worst 10-2 football team. I think they're a very good team.
You know who's skating by the 10-2 Patriots, essentially? I mean, they're just skating by because nobody watches them because they don't play anybody, so they're not even interesting. And we think they're all of a sudden... the best. The Broncos are the 1 seed, and they've actually beaten teams.
They've beaten Philadelphia
and the Chiefs.
They've beaten Philadelphia and the Chiefs.
Okay, Colts had them. Okay, Chargers.
You lost to the Colts.
Okay, so we've seen some teams. We beat some teams, and at 10-2, we're the number 1 seed. Patriots.
They beat the Bills.
You and I talked about this. The Patriots. They don't have anybody on their schedule. They're going to go into this really easy. They're not going to make a big run. Now, I will say. My Broncos last night, the defense couldn't stop Marcus Mariota. What
Very
was
odd.
that? I mean, I was thinking here going, is this the way? I mean, Mariota was carving him up last night.
Yeah, and Mariota is one of the best backups. I think you would agree with that in the league. He's a guy who he can win games for you. He can also lose games for you, and we saw that in the game that he played in Spain against the Dolphins, where he throws the first pass in overtime and an interception. So he's one of those up and down quarterbacks, but when he's on, he's very good. Plus, he still has great legs, right? He can still run around in and out of the pocket. I was very surprised that your team just did not shut them down, because my picture of that game last night was something like 23-10, 23-13, really keep them in check. And Mariota did move the ball down the field quite well.
I was surprised by that, so I will say. But all of these 1-point wins, 3-point wins, these last-second wins, that's not luck. You got to be in those games. What did we see over the weekend? What did we see? Your Rams got beat by the Panthers.
Yep.
Eagles got smoked by the Bears. I mean, we saw the Ravens get beat by the Bengals. We saw all these upsets. What was it? First 4 games of the weekend?
Yep.
Was it upsets?
The first 4 games of the weekend were all won outright by the underdog.
Yeah, so you can't quite say, well, I don't know, the Broncos, they beat the Commanders, but that's not impressive. It was on the road.
A big part of the job is winning the game, right? And, it doesn't always have to be pretty, but when the team responds in these close games, this is where I think the Broncos are a very good team, right? They've played a lot of these very close games, fourth quarter, overtime, and they've found ways to win the game. Well, that bodes well for a team going into the playoffs, because generally those games are very close, and you have to. It helps to have a lot of that experience. I think Nick's is building up a lot of that experience. Sometimes it still baffles me how he doesn't play that well in the first half or even the first 3 quarters of a game. But he does play well generally in the fourth quarter of games, and that goes a long way in the playoffs.
Look at that overtime drive. The Broncos go from scoring 1 touchdown all second half.
Yep.
1 touchdown all second half. That's it. and they score in overtime in 3 plays?
Yeah.
It's like, where is this?
Why can't we do this all game?
What is this? Listener text coming in. Rob owes me a pie to the face.
Oh, gosh.
Go Seahawks.
Wait, what did I do with the pie in the face now? I mean, I feel like I've gotten so... I feel like listeners are just tag teaming on this pie in the face thing, because at one time I said I would take a pie in the face with something, but I don't think I said anything with Seattle, did I? Maybe I did. Gosh.
Oh, wait. No,
I am a loon.
No. Hang on. I misread that. Hawkeyes.
Oh.
He said... I thought he was talking Seahawks. He said Hawkeyes. So
did I promise that too?
Well, you did say that Nebraska, I believe, was going to beat Iowa. I think that's what you were thinking, right?
I did, but I don't remember promising anyone a pie to the face for it. I mean, I've done that in the past, and I perfectly, if we can make a great bit out of it, a segment out of it, I will take a pie to the face for great radio.
We might have to think about that because this listener says you got about 2 or 3 pies to the face, and you've done 0.
Do I get to pick the pies, like which kind of pies there are? Because, I mean, there are good pies and bad pies.
My daughter made a pumpkin pie. We got a little bit left. I could bring that in. We got an apple pie.
Yeah, I like that. I like a chocolate cream pie.
Okay, that would be perfect.
I mean, right? Because that really gets messy, but it also tastes great.
Apple one might hurt. I don't want to hurt anybody. By the way, let me get into... So my Broncos are 10-2, and let's flip the script here. The Vikings go down in a heap to the Seahawks. That's why I had the Seahawks on the mind. 26-0. It's a mess. And Vikings country now is kind of like, hey, we got a real situation on our hands here. We've got a mess. Sam Darnold's gone. I've got the solution for him, by the way, so you're not going to believe it. But I have the solution. Is it a real mess now in Minnesota? You still think you go with J.J. McCarthy and you just take your shot next year, and it sounds like people aren't going to put up with that.
He's played 5 games, 6 games. I mean, come on. What is a fair evaluation period for a quarterback? Do we really think that 5 or 6 games tells us enough about a quarterback?
Well, he's going to play some more here. He'll get to play some more. On the richest team in the league, they have the most money they're spending this year.
Okay, well, I don't. So then the blame of that mess is on the general manager, because what made you think you were ready to win right away in J.J. McCarthy's first year?
Kevin O'Connell said this is the guy.
But it's his first year. Don't we got to see it a little bit? Don't you want to get some reps under his belt and then add in the second year where you know you really have a chance? You have a guy here, you can surround him with some real talent. I think you were making a huge jump to think that McCarthy was going to win. I mean, you won how many games last year? 14 games?
With your boy, Sam Darnold.
Right. You won 14 games with Sam Darnold, and you thought you were going to do better with a rookie quarterback? I'm sorry. To me, that's just bad planning by the general manager surrounding this guy with players that you didn't need yet. You were a year or 2 away.
Here's what we have, though. We didn't go. You don't have to be 14-3, but we've fallen off the cliff. Everything's gone wrong now. I mean, the quarterback's hurt again. We're falling off the cliff. It's not just 9 wins. It's over.
Well, and you know I'm not a big fan of Sam Darnold, nor am I a big fan of Daniel Jones, but both of those quarterbacks were on the Minnesota Vikings roster last year, and they're both doing quite well for other teams.
See, that's part of the mess.
So right, but the guy he's essentially a rookie quarterback, right? We have to say he's a rookie. He didn't play a single down last year. He has to get more than 5 or 6 games to evaluate. Now, if you tell me he plays the rest of the way where they have 5 games left and he stinks all 5 games, I still don't think that's enough time to evaluate. I think you got to give... You invested all this draft capital on a guy. Don't you have to give him another opportunity next year?
No. You know who you have to give the opportunity to? You ready? Are you ready?
God knows what you're about to say.
Kyler Murray. You bring him in now. Next year, you've got... How long do you think Justin Jefferson's going to pout? How much is he going to pout with J.J. McCarthy for another half of a year next year? He's pouting right now.
Are you kidding me right now?
No, I'm not.
Your idea to save the Minnesota Vikings is Kyler Murray.
Yes, that's a very good idea.
He can't even start for the Arizona Cardinals right now. They're starting Brissett over Kyler Murray.
Yeah, the Cardinals stink, by the way. They don't have any guys.
They stink because what do you mean?
They don't have any guys.
Sure they do.
Vikings have some guys. Kyler Murray, that's the player. You're going to say no to Kyler Murray, and you're going to run it back with JJ. Have fun.
It's his first year, and you're telling me Kyler Murray is a significant upgrade over J.J. McCarthy?
Oh, significant.
No,
significant.
Marginal at best.
Significant.
Marginal.
My goodness, this is the play they need to make. I will see if they're smart enough to make
Kyler Murray, who's won nothing in the National Football League.
He's been with Arizona. He's the number one pick. Arizona was bad. He's made Arizona competitive.
He's hurt a ton because he's way too tiny.
He's got
way too tiny to play NFL quarterback.
Listener text coming in. I guess Rob can bash my Vikings all he wants tonight. He won't even hurt my feelings.
4 interceptions by that bum who didn't even belong on a professional field yesterday.
Goodness. Now take it easy. He's an undrafted free agent.
How about that throw he threw down near the goal? Oh my gosh! Did anybody teach the kid, hey, just go down? It's not a big deal.
But according to you, if he was the guy that Kevin O'Connell decided, you'd run it back with Max. You'd run it back with him.
More than 5 or 6 games? Yes, I certainly would. If you told me I had a season and a half and I've seen nothing, okay. But he's a first-round pick. He deserves 2 seasons.
Listener text, no NFL team is ever just one player away from changing the team. Vikings were never going to make huge strides with a rookie QB.
Which is exactly why you don't surround him with a ton of overpriced or just high-priced, I won't even say overpriced, high-priced talent when you don't expect that much out of him in his first season.
Listener text, Nate, that was a bad win your Broncos had.
There's no such thing. Sir or ma'am, whoever you are, there is no such thing as a bad win in the National Football League. Take it from a guy who roots for a 2-10 team. There's no such thing as a bad win.
That's right. We got random texts firing off, which we appreciate on the Nate Brown Show. Rob Kegron's in studio. The text line is 605-720-1067. You can join the conversation as those folks just did. Now, let's get to the Lane Kiffin situation. I started my show with it, the Lane Kiffin situation. We were told this would never happen. You're in contention for a national tournament, and he leaves. Who is to blame? Lane, the system, Ole Miss coming up.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people, from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one, so you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
What do you call a place? It's one of Deadwood's largest casinos, but is it really a casino? Because you can't decide, should I play or eat or wait, there's a liquor-infused ice cream bar? I mean, you're playing craps one minute, and the next you're looking at a charcuterie board? What even is that? Never mind the gunfight outside, you don't have time for that. You've got espressos to down and games to bet on and a pub with 48 whiskeys? What do you even call a place like that?
I didn't know anything about radon. I didn't know it's a gas you can't see or smell. I didn't know it's radioactive from decaying uranium deep underground. It can seep through cracks in your foundation and collect in your house. 1 in 15 homes have high levels, and you don't know if yours is one of them unless you have your home tested. And radon? Well, radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer in America. I wish I would have known that.
Call Blackburn Foundation Repair for radon testing and mitigation.
just like you. Whether it's cross-country adventures, weekends by the lake, or family time under the stars, we're here to keep you rolling for years to come. While others are packing up, we're doubling down with dependable service, great prices, and the biggest selection in the region. Your journey doesn't stop here, and neither do we. Here tomorrow, here for every mile ahead. Visit us in Rapid City or Somerset or online at DakotaDiscountRV.com.
Ready to be part of something big? Meet the Rapid City Sports Commission, the powerhouse behind sports in Rapid City. The commission focuses on bringing regional and national tournaments, supporting homegrown events, and creating opportunities for our kids. But it's not just games, it's a win-win for all of us. Youth sports fuel our economy. Hosting events in Rapid City means out-of-town families shop, dine, and stay with us, which boosts sales tax revenues too. To get in on the action, visit rcsportscommission.com, where we're all about the hustle.
Your sports, your show. From East River to West River, this is South Dakota's sports talk show, The Nate Brown Show.
Well, welcome back in. South Dakota Sports Talk Show live tonight. Glad to be back on a Monday. The Nate Brown Show with Rob Kegron live in studio. A Reaction Monday with Rob Kegron. I got a listener text saying Nate is off his rocker. I mean, I don't know if I've ever had that happen, but Nate is off his rocker. The Vikings don't want Kyler Murray or Tua. They're too small and injured. This is a listener text. No. I want Kyler Murray. You want to run it back with JJ. What a joy that'll be.
I want to give a first-round pick more than one half season to show me what he's made of. I want, at the very least, he works through the whole offseason again. He comes back and he tries to, O'Connell finds new ways to get him to work on it. And, halfway through the season, if it's not working, okay, I understand.
Then we just waste another whole year. It's a beautiful thing. It's a great thing.
What waste? Nate, are you serious? Kyler Murray is going to win? He's going to win, get into the playoffs and win in the playoffs?
Yeah, with the team around him, I think so. We got the richest team in the NFL. We spent the most money, the most cash right here on the Vikings, and they're sitting here looking terrible.
They are terrible. They're not a great team by any means.
No, they aren't terrible. They have one spot that's ruining the whole thing, and you guys wanted to get rid of Sam Darnold, and now we got a mess. But I am going to say this about the Vikings. They've got a good enough team here. If you get somebody in, that's why you can't waste. So here's the disclaimer. He's got 5 games. I don't know if he's going to get to play in 5, but let's say he gets to play in 4. And if he looks like he did before, that's it. You just got to cut your losses. Sorry. That's it.
But you're making it like there's these top 15, top 10 quarterbacks in the league that are just sitting out there waiting to be cherry-picked from someone else and brought to your team. Kyler Murray is no sure thing. Absolutely. You can't say he's a sure thing. There's just no way.
Well, he's an upgrade. He would be an upgrade.
Maybe minor upgrade. Maybe on his best day, a minor upgrade. He's not consistent and he doesn't stay healthy. So I agree with the listener text. I mean, that guy does not stay healthy long enough to make him be like, oh, for sure we're going to win with Kyler Murray.
He's played more games than JJ, I'll tell you, speaking of being healthy. Okay, let me get into this. Lane Kiffin, this is the story of the weekend because I was told this wouldn't happen, right? We were told if you're in the national championship run, if you're in the college football playoff field, 12 teams, we're going to ramp it up to 12. And if you're in that, you're not going to have players leave, even though the transfer portal opens up. The players are committed. They're trying to win a national championship. They got NIL money, so they're fine. Coaches aren't going to leave. They're at programs that pay them enough, that they have all the resources. They have everything. They're in the playoff. And Lane Kiffin has Ole Miss ready to go for the playoff. They win the Egg Bowl against Mississippi State, and he plays this out, drama, and he goes to LSU, and he gets introduced today. If you have to blame one deal, there's like 3 here. Lane, Ole Miss, for, I guess saying, well, we're not going to let you coach. That's what somebody's trying to tell me. Like, well, Lane could have coached there, but Ole Miss didn't let him. Okay. Or the college system. I understand people say it's the system. What is it really?
Well, I'm actually going to blame two people, and you didn't mention any of them.
I didn't.
No, and I think these are the two main culprits. And I don't think it's their fault that Lane Kiffin left Ole Miss in the midst of this playoff run and goes to LSU. But it's the system that they have both created, enabled, and not fixed that caused this situation. And it's Greg Sankey, who is the commissioner of the SEC, and Tony Petitti, the commissioner of the Big Ten. Those two guys together essentially control college football. They're the impetus behind the changing to the 12-team playoff. If it goes to 16, it'll be because of them. They are the ones who are deciding how many in each of their big conferences are going to be automatic bids, right? I mean, there's been a lot of talk about this over the last year or two.
But that's supposed to stop this, going to the 12-team. This is supposed to stop this stuff.
It's not going to stop until you change the system. There can be no signings of players or coaches until after our season is over.
Yes.
Period.
Yes, I'm with you on that.
End of sentence.
It's just you have to have a rule.
Have to. There has to be guardrails in place, both for players and for coaches, right? I think both of them have to be held to this higher standard now, particularly now that players are getting paid to play in college. There will be no National Signing Day in December. Sorry, folks. If we're going to go to January 20th with college football, National Signing Day is a few days later, and you still get plenty of press out of it, right? And you can start signing coaches after that. Now, are they probably going to have a deal in place beforehand? Yeah, probably. I mean, think about NFL free agency, right? It normally begins on a Wednesday afternoon. Everyone's signed up Monday at 12 o'clock, right? There's this tampering period. I get there are going to be ways to circumvent that system, but you would prevent a guy from leaving a program who is a legit national championship contender to go to what he perceives and in reality is a better program.
But you don't see it in the NFL, a coach that's an offensive coordinator, they're getting these offers, they're getting ready to go. They have to wait. They're in the playoffs, they make the Super Bowl. You got to wait.
What is that extra 6 weeks or so that is in maybe even 7 weeks? What is that extra time? How is that going to hinder any of these programs, right? If you get everything on the same page and you push everything back, the signing day, the transfer portal, the signing of the coaches, well, then they're not behind the 8 ball. I know the fear is, well, if we don't get the coach right now, he can't go work on National Signing Day.
Right.
He can't go work on the transfer portal. Well, get rid of that. Move it later. And if Petitti and Sankey, the two commissioners of the biggest conferences in college football, came together and said, this is what we're doing. We're the ones who are bringing in all the TV revenue anyway, and everyone get on board, we would do it. Who's really to blame? The NCAA, the most inept and corrupt organization short of the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, and FIFA, who runs world soccer. Other than those two organizations, the NCAA may be the worst organization in all of sports.
I asked the college football writer tonight, John Bryce, Football Scoop, I said, everybody says the system is wrong, and it is. I said, why do we still think these guys need to sign up for classes? They got to get in there in December. They got to get in there in January to be there for the new semester. Do we really think that matters now?
They're going to classes in the spring before they even start in football?
Yes.
Yeah,
that's
okay.
what they
They're
said.
not showing up to any, folks. They're not showing up to any of the classes. Basket weaving 101. Okay, nobody's showing up to. These guys are practicing all day long. These are like professional football players now.
But that has to be the legitimate thing because they think the high school kids they sign, they actually quit their high school year. You've seen this. The guys will quit. They'll enroll in college in January. So they think we got to get them in there. Then they're there for spring football and they get their classes going. So they think that's the thing. But is it really going to matter 6 weeks? I'm with you. I say, so we have to do it now. We can't wait till January 24th.
I think we absolutely can, and I think 100% we should. And I think it is really tragic that no one will step up and do the right thing and fix this system and blame Kiffin. Listen,
I'm blaming Kiffin, by the way. I am blaming. There's no loyalty. There's no integrity.
Well, that's not fair.
That's a bad move by Lane. That's a bad move.
He's had a lot of questionable decisions in his career. He's been there 6 years, Nate.
Oh,
he's given him 6 years,
why?
And he's built their program up.
You know why? Nobody would touch him. He was a mess. This guy couldn't get a job from anybody, and they gave him a chance.
Well, that's not
and
true.
Then he left him
that's
cold.
not true.
He left him cold.
Saban hired him in Alabama.
Fired him.
Okay.
And fired him.
And then goes to FAU and does well there, right?
And leaves right
and
away.
And then goes to Ole Miss and does well there.
I mean, how many
6
years was he at Tennessee? One. Then he
was only there 1 year. And granted, it's hard to defend a guy like Lane Kiffin, but you and I agree that LSU is a better year in, year out college football program than Ole Miss ever will be.
If you had integrity, he's on the record saying, I don't do things for money. If you had integrity, you'd finish this out and you'd say, LSU, hang tight. I'm going to go with Ole Miss.
This is not for money, Nate. I mean, Ole Miss would have ponied up the same amount of money that LSU would. They would have found a way to get him the money. To be able to win a national championship every single year, which you can do at LSU, and you can't do at Ole Miss.
He's got one loss this year.
Right, but that's 1 year. You're going to have those years where everything goes right in a program like Ole Miss.
I'm gonna mark
LSU,
this
you're
down.
perennial.
Okay, mark this down right here. Lane Kiffin will not win a championship at LSU. Forget it. He's not going to be Les Miles. He's not going to be Big Ed Orgeron. Lane's going to go to LSU. Not going to win a national championship. Mark it down. I hope we're still alive.
I think he's going to win one.
Well, we should be alive because he'll be done in a couple of years, right? Where's he going to go next?
Harsh.
Alabama?
Harsh.
Where's he going to go with Kalen DeBoer? They get sick of him. Is he going to go there next?
I mean, Nick Saban did it, and we don't bash him at all. He left, right? He went from Michigan State to LSU to Alabama. Did he not? Wow. Nobody's killing Saban for doing it.
I wonder how long.
This is a bigger program.
How long did he stay at Alabama? Pretty long. But let's see. Lister text, almost every college athlete at that level is 100% online anyway. Yeah, I mean, that's what I've been told. They do online classes. But that's really the thing is they say, we got to get them in here for enrollment. You got to get them enrolled for classes. That's just the calendar. Sorry. This is like, and I played this, Rick Pitino, coaching St. John's, your team. They're a 2 seed in the tournament.
Yep.
And he announces, hey, I'm going to head out.
I mean, he actually tweeted about that this weekend. He did, because I follow him, because that's St. John's is my alma mater.
Isn't that ridiculous?
It's completely ridiculous, and that doesn't happen in college basketball.
Right.
All that stuff happens after the season. Why can't it happen in college football? It's because 2 guys decided that they don't want to make it a priority. Sankey and Petiti. They are to blame, not Lane Kiffin.
I would say the NCAA, for sure. They're just weak. They're just nothing to them. And Lane Kiffin, snake in the grass. You've heard of that. Snake in the grass. Coming right back, the top 2 surprising NFL storylines. I've got 2. I'm going to ask Rob Kagron his top 2 surprising NFL storylines coming up.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
Shop the best deals of the season at Splash City and create the ultimate game night all year round. Challenge family and friends with the smooth glide of a shuffleboard puck gliding across the table. Or reign champion with a Brunswick pool table. With free local delivery and setup and either 0% financing or a free gift, you only have until Christmas Eve to stop into your local Splash City to learn more about these amazing deals.
Visit Splash City in Sioux Falls, Rapid City, or Sioux City. It's time to make a splash. You've earned it.
Does your home have a crawl space? When cold weather arrives, that can mean cold floors, frozen pipes, and higher energy bills. Protect your family and keep the cold air out this winter with expert crawl space sealing by Blackburn Basement Systems. Sealing keeps your crawl space clean, protects pipes, and insulates your home so floors are warmer and energy bills are lower. A sealed crawl space means a nicer home. Don't wait. Call Blackburn Basement Systems today.
Hey, volleyball families, get ready to serve up some fun at the Wautiki Spike-tacular Volleyball Tournament, February 13th through 15th at the Box Elder Event Center. Experience high-energy matches, glow-in-the-dark games Friday night, and exciting play all weekend long. Compete in 14U, 16U, or 18U divisions for a shot at the trophy. Stay and play with 25% off rooms at Courtyard by Marriott and water park passes included. Register now at thebox.live.
City driving might feel routine, but it's tough on your car. All those quick starts, hard stops, endless red lights, and long idle times. They wear things down fast. Brakes, fluids, engine components, they all take a beat. That's where Al's D&I Repair in Rapid City comes in. We handle the maintenance that keeps your vehicle ready for whatever the city throws at it. Al's D&I, fixing it right since 77. Check in at Al's D&I on Sturgis Road and online at alsdniautorepair.com.
Since 1928, Connect Home Center has been proud to serve Rapid City and Spearfish with quality products and customer service that you can trust. In 2000, Connect joined the Mead Lumber family, and now they're taking the next step into their journey. Connect Home Center is becoming Mead Lumber. Same people, same service, just a new name from design to finish. Mead Lumber is here for you, as they've always been. MeadLumber.com.
If you're in the market for a vehicle right now, you probably have noticed it's sometimes hard to find the right one. That's where Summit Automotive Group steps in. Stacy and Matt and their staff working hard to get a great selection of pre-owned vehicles at affordable prices. At Summit Automotive, they have a different outlook on selling you a vehicle. You'll experience stress-free shopping, friendly, honest service with no high-pressure sales gimmicks. Before you buy, drop by East Highway 44, SummitAutoGRP.com.
Looking for a great place for a pregame meal that really satisfies? Or maybe you want a place to take your all-star after the game. Or you're looking for a place to enjoy a delicious meal while watching your favorite team on the big screen TV. Valley Sports Bar and Grill has all the bases covered for all those things and more. Top-notch, friendly, and attentive service. Wall-to-wall big screen TVs with all the big games. And the absolute best wings in Rapid City. Valley Sports Bar. Make it your place. 1865 Valley Drive, Rapid City.
This is The Nate Brown Show, also streaming live on YouTube. Subscribe to The Nate Brown Show on YouTube.
Welcome back in. The Nate Brown Show is on tonight. Full week ready to go. We're past the Thanksgiving holiday. Hope you had a nice long weekend. We're back at it on a Monday on your afternoon drive home on Fox Sports Radio across the state. South Dakota Sports Talk Show, built by Blackburn Foundation Repair. I want to remind you, when it gets cold out, make sure your crawl space is in good shape if you have a crawl space, okay? Also, make sure your foundation is secure. There's a lot of stuff that happens when it gets cold. Make sure you have a strong structure with Blackburn Foundation Repair. They'll seal off the crawl space, make sure your house stays warm. So, local experts in South Dakota since 1992. Blackburn Foundation Repair, protecting homes, protecting families. They also do radon testing. Invisible gas, number 2 cause of lung cancer. Have you had your home tested for radon? Blackburn does that. Start at blackburnrepair.com. Take your home off the injured list. Start at blackburnrepair.com. Blackburn's got your back. The Nate Brown Show on tonight with Rob Kegron live in studio. It is a Reaction Monday. Well, I'm very interested in what you have to say with this topic. I thought, hey, we've seen enough NFL football to see what is the surprising storyline of the season. And I said it's hard to just pick one, so let's pick 2. Your top 2 most surprising NFL storylines of the season. Are you ready?
I'm sure am, Nate. My first one to me is exactly like the changing of the guard of who is on top of both the AFC and the NFC. Right? It's one thing every year. There's 14 teams make the playoffs. Every year there's like a turnover of about 6 of those teams that don't make the playoffs the year before that make it this year. Right? So there's plenty of parity in the NFL. But to me, this is pretty wild that the Chicago Bears and the New England Patriots, who didn't make the playoffs last year, are the top teams right now in their conferences. That, to me, is really crazy talk, that they could go from nothing, from really below-average teams, to being potentially the number 1 seed, home field advantage throughout the playoffs, and a bye. Because even though I thought both of those teams would be improved this year, they have been way better than improved. They have been, and I know you're going to say schedule and things like that, but the schedule is what the schedule is. They're 9 and 10 win teams, and they are the best teams record-wise in their conferences.
I did put one of my top storylines in the NFL. I did put the rise of the Bears and the Patriots. And I don't know if that's legitimate. I don't know if this rise. We're sitting here December 1st saying, oh, the Bears, oh, the Patriots. What are they going to be saying in 6 weeks?
Yeah, and I probably would agree with you at the very least for Chicago, right? I don't know that Chicago, even though their record is better, I don't know that they are, and they did beat Philly, so I have to give them that.
Philly's reeling.
They're
are.
reeling. I don't know that they're a better team than the Rams, right? I'm not sure that they're a better team than the 49ers. I'm not sure that they're a better team than Seattle, right? I'm not sure, and I think we'll learn something this weekend.
Seattle wouldn't
Sunday.
win a playoff game, though.
They still won't. They still won't. Because they got Sam Darnold. And that's the guy who throws interceptions in the playoff games.
Wait, is the guy still listening and wants another pie in the face? Let's make that official today.
Pie in the face.
Remember it. Seattle's the biggest bet of this show. They win a playoff game with Sam Darnold. You have to do it because you kill Sam. You disrespected him all last year. You disrespect him this year. Sam Darnold, Rob Kegron, you're tied to him with a pie in the face.
I completely agree to that, and I have nothing to worry about.
Okay, but you just said the Seahawks probably better than the Bears.
Yeah, and
who else?
I'd say even
Packers.
Yeah, and we're going to learn a little bit about that this weekend, right? Packers and Bears play each other, right? So I do think there are a number of teams that look better than they are. But the fact of the matter is they do have 9 wins, and they just went into Philadelphia on Black Friday and won the game. And it wasn't like that it was a fluke win. They played better than them, and they have played well, good football. And I think, Ben Johnson, a lot to do with that, right? When you have a coach that actually knows what he's doing, Matt Eberflus did not know what he was doing the last couple of years. It goes a long way, right? And he's getting a lot out of Caleb Williams here. So I think these two teams combined, even though I'm not convinced that, say, New England, I think they're a little bit better than Denver. I'm not sure that they're a lot. I don't know that I would trust New England against Buffalo and Josh Allen either. I don't know that I would trust New England if Kansas City were to make the playoffs against them or even against Baltimore. But the fact of the matter is, these teams were not playoff teams last year, and they're 9 and 10 win teams at this point in the season. That's a surprise.
I did put that in there. Surprise, Bears and Patriots. Nobody saw that coming. If you said that was coming, nobody saw it coming. Patriots, no way. Bears, no way. We're talking top tier. My other one is the decline of the Kansas City Chiefs. People think, oh, they're not dead. They're not dead. They just might be. They 6-6. That loss to the Cowboys was tough to take, and now they've got the Texans. I still think they can stay alive, but you start looking at the playoffs in the hunt. They're in the hunt. They're down toward the bottom of in the hunt. The decline of the Chiefs, I didn't see it like this.
Yeah, I didn't see it like that either, and that's my third one, so I completely agree with you. It's right up there. I didn't have any idea that they would be a 6-6 team at this point. My other one is how many teams are in a quarterback hell situation, right? I mean, I'm going to do it quick because I know we'll run out of time here, but there are 11 teams that legitimately going into next year don't have a complete answer at quarterback. The Jets, the Steelers, the Browns, the Vikings, the Cardinals, the Raiders, the Saints, the Falcons, the Dolphins, the Titans, and the Jags. All of those have question marks. Oh, Trevor Lawrence is average at best. Yeah, their record's good, but he's average at best.
The Dolphins, you guys just
Tua stinks.
Well, they paid him a bunch of money. What are you going to do?
You got to get rid of them. You got to cut bait, lose their money. I mean,
okay, I'll take him.
It's like what you guys did with Russell Wilson.
I'll take Tua.
Another guy you're not going to win with. But those,
I'll take him.
They have question. There's so many teams that have question marks around the quarterback. The most important position. How can we not find 32 athletes in this country who can play quarterback?
Most difficult position in sports, they say. By the way, one not on the list, honorable mention, and I think it might be coming. Time is short for Mike Tomlin, long tenured coach for the Steelers. It doesn't look good.
I agree with you. I do think it's probably time for a change there.
Does not look good. Aaron Rodgers is being Aaron Rodgers again. Blaming the wide receivers. Coming right back with, are the Huskers making progress? Our last hitter next.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
Deck the halls with holiday scratch tickets, scratch. 'Tis the season to be jolly. Good fun. Give the gift that makes them happy. Scratch. It's the perfect stocking stuffer. Runs on the total lottery.
Good fun. Must be 18 to play. Please play and give responsibly. Inheritance, romance, and investment scams continue to plague South Dakotans with high dollar amount losses. They prey on vulnerable adults and swindle consumers out of their funds. Scammers befriend the victim, making it difficult for them to see the reality of what's happening. If you have a loved one susceptible to this type of scam, sit down and talk with them about these issues before it happens to them. If you or a loved one have been scammed in this manner, please reach out to the South Dakota Office of Attorney General's Consumer Protection Division at 800-300-1986.
Danny Manholt Rapid Chevrolet buys cars. You heard that right. We don't just sell cars, we buy them too. We make cash offers to purchase local cars, trucks, and SUVs every day. Tired of listing online? Tired of messages? Or just tired of making payments? Whatever the reason, make an appointment at rapidchevrolet.com for a no-obligation appraisal. It's fast and free. When you're ready to sell, we're ready to buy. At Danny Manholt Rapid Chevrolet, Rapid City.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Mainly cloudy skies expected tonight with a low of 21. West winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Slight chance for a mix of rain and snow tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 44. Cloudy skies. Chance for snow tomorrow night. Lows around 16. Cloudy skies. A dusting of snow tomorrow through tomorrow night. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Right now, 29.
Great news. I just got the State Farm personal price plan on our home and auto insurance.
You told our agent about my thing for romance novels?
No, you don't have to get that personal. Our agent just helped me choose affordable options to create a personalized price just for us.
Oh, sweet. Then you won't believe the love triangle Jen is in now.
Contact me, State Farm agent Scott Carlson, to create your personal price plan today.
Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
As a rancher in western South Dakota, you know the meaning of hard work. From working cattle to working in the field, you know that the job begins before dawn and can last into the night. You also know that at the end of the day, it's more than just work. It's a way of life. When it comes to banking, you need a bank that values your time and is committed to your growth. Don't settle. Pioneer. Pioneer Bank and Trust. Local.
Pioneer Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Hey, volleyball families, get ready to serve up some fun at the Wautiki Spike-tacular Volleyball Tournament February 13th through 15th at the Box Elder Event Center. Experience high-energy matches, glow-in-the-dark games Friday night, and exciting play all weekend long. Compete in 14U, 16U, or 18U divisions for a shot at the trophy. Stay and play with 25% off rooms at Courtyard by Marriott and water park passes included. Register now at thebox.live.
From high school to college to the pros, from Rapid City to Sioux Falls, the Nate Brown Show is South Dakota's sports talk show.
Welcome back in. The Nate Brown Show is on. Rob Kagron in studio on a Reaction Monday on Fox Sports Radio. Hope you've had a great day. If you missed parts of the show, you got to go back and listen to what Rob says. We all have to remember what he says so we can get the pie to the face. Sam Darnold making a playoff win. That's the deal today. Go to the Nate Brown Show podcast. We'll put it up here right tonight. We got a minute left, and so the answer is to the question of the day, what? Have the Nebraska Huskers made progress? They're 7-5, another bowl game, but they got blasted by Iowa. They got blasted by Penn State. Have they made progress?
Absolutely have made progress. They had 7 consecutive losing seasons, right? Riley's last year, Frost all 5 of his years, and Matt Rule's first year.
It's an easy schedule this year.
He's had 2. Scott Frost had 5 losing seasons in a row. Shall I remind everyone again about Bo Pelini, who never won less than 9 games? I know everybody hated him, but he won 9 games every time, if not more. 7 wins. You've got 2 winning seasons in a row. Raiola hopefully back and healthy next year. I think you have to build upon that. Is it great?
Progress?
No. It's of course it. 7 consecutive losing seasons. You've won 2 in a row.
You're saying, I mean, this is like me not going back for thirds this year at Thanksgiving. I just went back for seconds. It's not much progress there.
But from what you were before Rule took over, there's a lot of progress. I look at it that way.
A lot of progress.
From one regime to the next. The last regime, not one winning season. This regime, 2 out of 3. We're building.
Go to
slowly.
Go to the Nate Brown Show podcast. We'll put it up right now. Rob Kagron and Nate Brown Show out. See you tomorrow.
My reason why is community.
My reason why is leadership.
My reason why